Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It's the second instalment of my mini transfer series. I've already bought you 5 freebies to find, and now part 2 will be titled 4 to Score. That's pretty self-explanatory. We know that Gills have had issues in front of goal over the last few seasons, and it needs rectifying if we want to become a club challenging at the top end of League Two. So I have identified a quartet of strikers who could potentially come to the football club and increase our output in front of goal. There is 1 from the National League, 2 from our own division, League Two, and 1 from the level above in League One. So without further ado, let's crack on and have a look at who we found. Hope you all liked the new intro. I do. Makes you miss it though, doesn't it? And makes you want to look forward towards next season. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Right, without further ado, like I say, we need to score more goals. So I found 4 people, and the first man that I found is 28 years of age, and he's been playing in the National League over the last couple of seasons or so. The team he's been playing for is Altrincham Town. And what I've tried to do is find players that have not just had 1 good season, that have had 2 or 3, certainly in terms of goals and assists, but also perhaps more importantly in terms of appearances, because you don't want to be getting people that have barely played over a long period of time. You want some consistency and some robustness in terms of not missing games through injuries and or suspension. And the first person I found is Rean. Now in 22-23 played 18 times, contributed 6 goals and no assists, and averaged 65 minutes per game. But in the last 2 seasons he's really stepped up in terms of minutes per game, appearances, goals, most importantly, and assists. 23-24 bought 32 games, 13 goals and 4 assists. The average minutes per game was still at 65, but them numbers were really good. If you're looking at that, 17 goal contributions, and last season 24-25 as his team missed out on the playoffs. 42 games, 23 goals of his own, and he laid on 7 more for others, and his minutes per game went up to 74. Now looking at more numbers for Rean in terms of that season, it was a goal every 143 minutes, basically 1 every 1.5 games. He took 118 shots in total, 55 of them were on target. He had a 67% pass ratio, 5 out of 5 from the spot, which is something I think we need to improve on. I think we've been a bit hit and miss at best over the last few seasons. Albeit we don't get many penalties, it don't seem to be the case. And 92 ball recoveries was indicate that in terms of work rate, he's willing to work hard from the front and press and harry defenders and try and pinch the ball in dangerous areas. Not loads to go on. Obviously, I don't watch loads of the National League, so it's very stats driven. But I've tried to do a bit of research in terms of style of play, and it seems that he's big and he's strong. He's willing to hold it up. He's willing to run in behind. So everything that you want in a centre forward, really. And as recently as a couple of months ago, his manager, Phil Parkinson, said we've one of the best marksmen in the division, and with the correct service, he has helped propel us up the table. Yeah, them numbers speak volumes, don't they? Last season, 30 goal contributions in 42 appearances is really, really good. So that's my first pick as a potential front man, Rean of Altrincham Town. The next 2 on my list are players that featured in my recently published League Two team / squad of the season. So that might be a big clue in itself for these next couple of players. But the first one I'm going to focus on is a 30-year-old who was born just up the road from the Gills in Chatham. That's a massive clue. So let's tell you his name. It's Harry Smith of Swindon Town. Now, I know this one is still under contract, but if we're serious about promotion, about being better, about scoring more goals, then it might be the case that we have to go and spend a few quid on trying to get a front man in, because we do have doubts over Elliot Nevitt. I mean, in terms of work rate and all that side of the game, absolutely no problem with Nev's first season, but he didn't score enough. We know that, only 5 goals and I think 3 assists. There were signs of big improvements under Gareth Ainsworth, so he could be the man to lead the line. Josh Andrews could be the man to lead the line, but obviously injuries played a huge part in his time with us so far. So I think it's viable to say that we're going to have to bring in at least 1 or maybe 2 centre forwards. So Smith played 24 times in 22-23. There were 7 goals and no assists, and he averaged just 47 minutes per game. That was a couple of loan spells, I believe, in that season. And then in 2023-24, games went up from 24 to 37. Goals went up to 11 and there were 5 assists. So 16 goal contributions in 37 appearances, not to be sniffed at. And he averaged 81 minutes per game. So if he started, he generally was on the pitch for the duration. And then last season, another really, really good campaign, certainly after Rean Holloway came in and turned around the fortunes of Swindon Town. 39 appearances, 15 goals, 3 assists, 82 minutes per game. So pretty much the same as the season before. In terms of minutes per goal, it was 214. So you're looking at just one every other game or so, every 2 games. Sorry, 67% of his aerial duels won. I remember in the game, it was our final home fixture of the season, wasn't it, against Swindon Town. Won what seemed to be absolutely everything in the air. He's an absolute man mountain. He's about 6'7", I think, but he's broad as well. He's a big lump, but that doesn't diminish any of his mobility. So yeah, I think he could be a really, really clever addition. Good split of goals last season as well. 5 right foot, 5 left and 5 with his head. So even split amongst them. And 98 clearances indicates that he's good in both boxes. He defends set plays for his side and does all that side of the game. I mentioned on the team of the season video that I thought he'd started to learn, you know, that if you stay on the pitch, you can be a good player. But to be fair, it's only been 3 red cards in the last 3 seasons, so maybe I've done Smith a bit of a disservice on that sense. But yeah, double figures for goals in 3 of the last 4 seasons. Them numbers read 13, 7, 11 and 15, so certainly knows where the back of the net is. And yeah, 10 assists in that time as well. So it's a good return for a man that's was maybe a little bit nomadic at the start of his career, but he seems to have settled at the county ground. Whether we can prize him away and bring him back home, so to speak, like I say, his birthplace was Chatham, remains to be seen. But yeah, my second pick of my 4 to score is Swindon Town's Harry Smith. Third on my list is a man who was top scorer in Sky Bet League 2 last season. Didn't matter who he played against, he was a threat. It didn't seem to matter who he played against, he scored goals. It was his first season at the level, which makes his numbers even more staggering. 33 years of age now, but his powers are showing absolutely no signs of waning. I'm talking about Bromley's Michael Cheek. And his numbers, like I said, we wanted to look at goals, games, assists over a period of time, not just 1 or 2 seasons. And he stands up as good as anything in the lower leagues. In 2022-23, Cheeky played 43 times and scored 15 goals. There was no assists that season, but he averaged 83 minutes per game. And then if you jump forward to 23-24, 44 games, 21 goals and 6 assists. So that's 27 goal contributions, 88 minutes per game. So again, barely missed any football time. And then this past season, as Bromley stepped up after winning promotion at Wembley about this time last year, 45 games, 25 goals and 7 assists. So 32 contributions. Absolutely ridiculous numbers for a man who, it's fair to say, is at the veteran stage of his career. And it was 85 minutes per game. So again, he's on the pitch all the time. Goal every 152 minutes in 24-25. So about 1 every game and a half. 26% conversion rate is absolutely superb. So scores with 1 in 4 shots. He had 45 shots on target last season. All of his goals come from inside the box. He's the archetypal penalty box, fox in the box striker. You're not going to see him, like I say, drop in deep and link in play 50, 60 yards from goal, or running back to pick the ball up on the halfway line. He's one of them strikers that plays between the post, plays in the penalty area, and he's absolutely brilliant at doing it. He's only offside 18 times all season as well, which I think is incredible, which is basically 1 every 3 games. No, more than that. He's big, he's strong, he's old school, isn't he? And I think that's probably the route to go in League Two. We've spoke about it on plenty of videos, Gills fans, fans of other clubs. What's the best way to get out of this league? I think you have to be robust. You have to be strong down the middle of the pitch. And I think Michael Cheek would give us that. Does exactly what he says on the tin, doesn't he? He's an absolute menace. In terms of games per season, over the last 5 years, he's averaged 43 appearances per campaign in the league. And he's averaged just over 20 goals. So for me, it's a no-brainer. We have to be looking at Bromley's Michael Cheek. The final man in the quartet of potential striking additions that I've found is someone who has played for the Gills on loan previously, but you'd have to go back a decade. He joined in the January of 2015, I think it was the late Justin Edinburgh that signed him. He came in on a short-term deal until the end of the season from Millwall and scored 8 goals in 21 games, which ultimately took us away from the relegation zone in League One. And for a fleeting period, there was talk of the playoffs. So I'm, of course, talking about John Marquis. He's 33 now. John was playing his football with Shrewsbury Town in League One last season, so there would be a link to Gareth Ainsworth. He'd have been in charge of him for a period of time. Yeah, again, another one that's probably approaching the veteran stage of his career, but his numbers are still really, really good. In 22-23, 36 appearances, 9 goals and 3 assists, averaged only 49 minutes per game. And last season, 23-24, he struggled, didn't he? He wasn't fancied by his manager at Bristol Rovers. It was just 4 goals and 1 assist from 35 appearances, and he averaged under 40 minutes per game. But back in the team and back playing regular football this season, even in a poor side that struggled to score goals, he played 40 times, scored 11 goals and provided another assist, and that minutes per game jumped back up to 72. He scored 27% of Salop's goals in the league. So you can see why they went down. They didn't score enough. 41 goals is, you know, is what we've been doing, and that's why you're in the bottom half of the table. But he, you know, at times it seemed was single-handedly trying to keep them in the division. 20% scoring ratio, so 1 in 5. 68% passing ratio and 140 ball recoveries indicates that, again, he's still, you know, willing to do that other side of the game, to do the dirty work, to press from the front. I think he gives you options in terms of how you can play the game. He's good enough with his feet, if he's still a similar player to what we saw. He's decent in the air. He scores, you know, a fair amount with his head. He's played for some really good clubs, hasn't he? And he's done it at a level higher than us. You think after he left us, he went to Northampton, but it was Doncaster where he really caught the eye, didn't he? I think he went past 20 goals twice for them. I think he went past 20 maybe once for Portsmouth as well in League One. And this is top end at League One as well. I think that season he had under, might have been Darren Moore at Doncaster, was the season they lost to Charlton in the playoffs to get into the Championship. So yeah, his numbers are really good and at a level above of what we are now. Over the last 10 seasons, he's averaged 40 appearances per campaign. So no issue with injuries, no real issue with suspensions. In terms of goals, he averages 13 a season, which I think is fine. You don't have to score 100 goals if you're solid defensively, which we have been for the last few seasons. And he scored 83 of those goals in League One, which is 67% of his goals in that time. So yeah, he's averaged 10 a season over the last 5 seasons. And like I say, in recent times, he's not always been fancied by managers, certainly at Bristol Rovers. So to still be averaging 10 goals per season is testament to his ability and his longevity and his attitude. So yeah, that's the final pick in my 4 to score. Shrewsbury Town's John Marquis. Before I go, I just wanted to clear up what I said on the recent League 2 Team of the Season video. I did mention that I was away for a week, so content would be slower on the channel. What I meant is I'm about for a week and then I fly out on my holidays next Tuesday, the 27th. So there will be stuff coming out up until that point, and then it will be quiet for a period of time as I enjoy some family time. But as always, the most important thing for me is to say thank you to everybody who's watched this video. Thank you to everybody who's pressed like. Please, if you haven't done so yet, do it. Please consider smashing that subscribe button. We're very close to 3,700 subscribers now. Your support is always greatly appreciated. It never goes unnoticed. I might not get back to comments straight away, but I always do try to react or reply to all of them when time allows. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought of these 4 potential strikers. striking options. There will be another video in the next few days. I think it's going to be called 5 to Thrive, and that'll be various positions, looking at people that are now available as more retained and release lists become available and get published. But for now, as always, thanks for watching, and most importantly, up the Gills.